Chapter 3 Prayers and Meditation. There are many religions on earth, but if you were to single out the most common and important factor among them, the answer would have to be prayers. When studied sympathetically and not controversially, the scriptures of all religions will reveal many points of accord and harmony which are infused in their prayers. Prayer is an escape from the loneliness of the individual into communion with the divine. Every place of worship has perfected its own set of prayers. A common prayer sung together creates a divine and energizing effect experienced by the devotees. A scheduled prayer is always a mandatory and integral part of all places of worship. Religion can be divided into two parts, exoteric and esoteric. Exoteric religion aims more at ameliorating the condition and improving the status of its followers. It helps humans to observe religious rituals, sing hymns, say fervent prayers to appease the divine in the expectation of a reward now and beyond. A sincere prayer is a simple conversation with God. It is the most fundamental expression of our trust and faith in our belief and the divinity we believe in. It is also our breath or the life force of our life. It is the lifeline or an SOS to our Creator. When we close our eyes and pray, we can feel the most beautiful and pious things within. The shortest distance between human problems and divine solutions can be measured by the time it takes for the hands to fold together to pray. This can also be measured by the time it takes for our knees to touch the floor. A combination of the hands praying and the knees touching the floor is an act of total surrender to the divine. There are times when humans start to utter a desperate plea for divine intervention for their mundane earthly problems. At these exact times, sincere prayers are born in the depth of heart or in the womb of time. Paradoxically, it is when conditions are worse that usually turn most people towards spirituality and divinity. There are times when humans are facing problems that they cannot solve, difficulties they cannot overcome, enemies they cannot defeat, and goals for which they need divine interventions to achieve. During stress and depression, humans seek spiritual divine help and turn inwards rather than outwards. They may hide personal problems from their nearest and dearest, but as true confessions, lay it out in the front of the Creator of the universe. It is this time that people often mistakenly think of our Creator as a genie or a wish fulfiller. Praying does not mean that we hand over a to-do list to God, instructing Him to do our chores. We are even going to the extent of egoistically promising Him earthly offerings as a reward for a job well done, or even some sacrifice. In short, we treat our God as our errand boy, though in a pleading voice. Amidst all the confusion of constant fears and complexities of life, amidst the struggle for material power, the greed of gain, and the mirage of temporary happiness that may follow such improvements, we may realize the follies of our existence in this world. It may safely be assumed that our inner thoughts can be conveyed to the divinity in the form of silent prayers. Science and logic may not be able to give evidence or proof of how the divine can understand every praying individual. He is then often provided with sensible answers in this world of multiple languages. Where scientific proof fails, faith in the divine and patience always reward us with positive energy. From Nadir, the lowest point of our confidence, prayers are born out of desperation in our heart. That is when we are overcome with this dreaded feeling that we are neither capable nor here on this earth to run this world. Let us learn to pray with a total and unconditional surrendering attitude to our Creator and accept His decisions. The very fact that prayers and the divine sixth element lie close by in our bosoms is reason enough that our prayers are sometimes answered even before we say them. Prayers of the physically challenged are responded to even though they are not uttered aloud. This sincere save our soul prayer should be done with completely humility and purity. It should neither be adorned with any poetic or polished words, nor stitched with stylish scripture phrases. Instead, it should simply be wrapped up in emotional tears. It should bear the pain and the truthfulness of the heart from where the prayer stems. Humans have pinned their hopes on prayers for ages. It is an invisible phone line, open 24/7 for humans to chat with God. Prayers can be described as the spiritual wealth of the poor, the inner strength of the weak, and the divine knowledge of the ignorant. A sincere prayer is like a flower which purifies our mind as we humbly place it at the feet of the Lord without any expectations. It is up to Him to accept and bestow His divine blessings, which will come to us in His own due time. It expresses our deep emotions and can be our own private link to the divine, which will strengthen us from within. Millions raise their hand in prayers, though few get instant answers, and many have to await His decision with true faith and patience. Some get delayed responses, while others are denied for better physical or spiritual rewards. If we are patient enough and keep the faith, eventually everyone will get what they truly deserve, not for what they may have prayed for, as said by Sudhanshuji Maharaj. Muslim prayers or salat are done in 5 obligatory namaz facing east. Fajr at dawn, Zuhar at midday, Asr at afternoon, Maghrib at sunset, and Isha at night time. These prayers are set according to the movement of the sun. Bells or persons may be used to remind individuals of the time to pray in the masjid or mosque. There are 5 pillars of Islam, that is faith, shahada, prayers, salat, alms, zakat, fasting, swam, and pilgrimage, hajj. Hindu prayers. Prayers are considered to be an integral part of the religion. The chanting of mantras is the most popular form of worship in Hinduism. The purpose of Hindu prayers or mantras is to first invoke the deity, avahan, praise him, arti, and seek divine help, falastuti. There are 4 phases of life in Hinduism: dharam or religion, kama or earthly pleasures, artha, earning a living, and moksha, salvation. In temples, a strict code of personal hygiene is observed for prayers. A bath is mandatory, and slippers or shoes are left outside. Bells, lamps, and incense sticks are an integral part of most prayers. Such was the invocation of the ancient Hindu sages that they form global prayers benefiting the entire humanity. Sikh prayers. 3 morning prayers are called Japji Sahib, Jap Sahib, and Tawa Prasad Savaiya, respectively. Evening prayers are called Chaupal, and late evening prayers are called Kirtan Sohalya. Sikh call these prayers the primary guidance or root formula open to every human being regardless of caste, status, gender, or religion. The true essence of one God is implied in Sikhism. Hygiene is still required, a norm, as well as a covering the head with cultured caps or cloths, and a mandatory bow is done to show faith in the deity. Sikhs are supposed to observe these 5 Ks or tenets of Sikhism. Kesh, uncut hair, symbolizing spiritual power. Kanga, wooden comb for tidiness and organized nature. Kada, iron or a steel round bangle symbolizing unity. Kirpan, ceremonial star steel dagger representing safety. Kacha, comfortable underwear for personal hygiene. Christian prayers. The most common prayer among Christians is the Lord's Prayer. According to Gospel accounts, example Matthew 6-9, verse 13, it highlights the 4 elements of prayers. Prayers of blessing and adoration, prayers of petition, prayers of intercession, and the prayers of thanksgiving. Every Sunday and on important traditional days, most Christians attend Mass and pray together in their respective churches. Others continue to pray at home, alone, or with families, as and when necessary. Christians are bound by the 10 commandments and avoid the 7 deadly sins. Buddhist prayers. Some Buddhists practice a preset day of prayers called Uposatha, during which they attend monasteries or gather with families in houses to listen to Buddhist teachings and meditate. They chant Pali stanzas and suttas. This is called Buddha Vandana or worshipping Buddha, done at dawn, midday, sunset, and before sleeping. For Buddhists, idol worship or physical divinity is avoided, and seeking divinity inside themselves and reincarnation is a way of life. Learning about the prayers from different religions can help us become global and spiritual citizens. Prayer is a link between a soul, sometimes guided by an enlightened soul, which allow us to communicate with the eternal highest soul. The real purpose of visiting our TMCs for prayers is not to fulfill our desires, but to have our desires purified. We can raise our levels of spiritual service and love and compassion and dedication to the Creator. Let me cite an anecdote to illustrate human nature when praying to the divine. Once, some naughty students took 3 goats and painted the number 1, 2, and 4 on their sides. They then let them loose on a Sunday night in their school buildings. Naturally, when the school was supposed to start on Monday morning, everyone noticed the stench and the mess the goats had made. They were soon able to find the 3 goats and brought them outside. The school, however, could have started with a bit of delay. But as per logic, the authorities thought that goat number 3 was still missing and was somewhere inside the school premises. So an intense search was launched for the goat number 3. Naturally, they could not find the non-existent goat number 3. Monday was declared a holiday to the delight of the naughty students, and school was closed for further search for the missing goat number 3. The anecdote may seem funny, but is it not true that we as devotees are doing the same thing as we pray during our lives? You may ask what? We are never thankful and never count our blessings for what the divine has given us, like goat number 1, 2, and 4. As we go about running around school of life, we keep on complaining or searching for something that is not there, like the goat number 3. We always pray desperately and keep working to buy material things to impress others. When goat number 3 of divine inner happiness and contentment is within us since the day we are born. The moral of the story is that the divine usually answers our prayers in a yes or wait. I have something better planned for you in due time, my child. To help us develop a thankful and not a complaining attitude. Praying does not always mean asking or begging or even bargaining or trading with the divine. Instead, prayers should be done to thank and awaits the fruits of our prayers patiently. The 4 types of devotees. Regular prayer becomes our secret power and our anchor in times of trouble. It fills us with discipline and strong willpower. The motives with which devotees often pray to God can be categorized into 4 types. The first type of devotee is the one who prays only at the time of distress or out of fear and never at the time of happiness. People at this level think that if I disobey God, then He may punish me for my wrongdoings or sins. So as prevention is safer than being sorry, let me appease Him by offering prayers. This worship is better than atheism, but it is still based on God being a negative conception or as a stern judge or a cosmic punisher. The second type of devotee is the one who prays due to the fulfillment of one's desires or who still needs favor. They are trading or bargaining because of the fear of hell. People at this level think, there are so many things I want. If I pray to God, perhaps He may give them to me. Here, God's conception is more favorable as a potent desire fulfiller. However, this relationship is still based on submitting a long to-do list of our desires to our Creator, rather than offer faith, love, and gratitude for His blessings. The third type of devotee is the one who thinks that God has already given him so much: life, body, health, food, clothing, shelter, family and friends, and money and power. So it is his duty or obligation to offer God a prayer of gratitude as often as possible, or God may revoke those benefits. Here the relationship is somewhat steady, based on inner gratitude, what has been already received for their need, and not to keep on begging for things he still wants to satisfy his greed. The person who offers such prayer is the one who is humble enough to convey his gratitude in devotion. He does visit God as obligatory gratitude, not as a wish fulfiller. He only wants to thank the divine for what he has received and not complain about his losses or how much his neighbor have progressed. The fourth type of devotee is the true spiritual seeker of the soul's salvation from all that is finite and transitory. People at this level have the purest intention when approaching God. This devotee feels that God and only God is the supreme object or goal of his entire existence. He realizes that he has served so many worldly masters, things and positions in vain, and has not achieved an iota of peace or bliss he has been searching for since his physical birth. This elixir of pure inner happiness is the only goal for this kind of devotee. He even forgets to ask and loses himself in the purest love and devotion of the divine. The seeker's heart just cries out with unwavering faith that, Lord, I have decided to serve you eternally and only want you as a reward and nothing else as the answer to my prayers. I am your child who has come in the refuge of his Father. Make me your messenger, your servant, so I can help others and do your work. Not mine, but let thy will be done through me. I will accept whatever is your plan or purpose for me in this life and beyond. He has firm conviction in the laws of karma, that is, cause and effect, and the reincarnation eternal cycle of birth and death. Confidence in philosophical thought is characterized by belief in divinity. He tries to be a benevolent giver and a messenger of his divine creator. Guided meditation. Religion can be divided into two aspects for human beings, exoteric and esoteric. Explain about. Above. Esoteric elements deal with the soul, trying to free it from the mind and the matter. Its object is a spiritual uplift of the soul and its communion with God in this life on earth and beyond. With this aspect, the ancient Indian sages laid down rules for yoga or guided meditation. As they say, man is much more than a physical body and has a spiritual and a divine aspect known as the soul or the divine sixth element. Why has meditation been considered a necessity of the spiritual life? Meditation comes from the Latin word mediatari, which means reflect on, study, and practice spirituality. As per Buddhism, guided and regular meditation is a mental development and training resulting in a calm, serene, sober, and uncluttered mind, which may take more than one lifetime to be enlightened. As per Christianity, meditation is deliberately focusing on specific thoughts and increasing one focus on knowledge of the divine. As per Islam, meditation is a practice or a set of techniques meant to heighten your inner state of awareness. The goal is to develop a more positive and profound bliss from within. Sufism or Tasawwuf is the esoteric form of Islam, mysticism that emphasizes the spiritual closeness with the Almighty. In Hinduism, the ideology behind meditation is more spiritual than religious. Guided meditation aims to unite, that is yoga, with our Creator or the Supreme Soul with enlightened soul. Yoga is a combination of two Sanskrit root words, yo and ga, meaning to unite. Meditation has been known to reduce stress and improve mental ability to cope with constant problems. Constant stress is known to trigger loneliness and depression. Meditation reduces risk for developing adrenal fatigue or migraine. Meditation improves moods, enhances the immune system, lowers blood pressure, improves sleep, hormonal imbalances. It may prevent compulsive eating disorders and problems of heart disease. First, to meditate, we must concentrate on one idea, one thought, and one object. As we grow in concentration, meditation becomes effortless. Humans have chosen universal or global prayers as their channel and communion to God. In that case, it may be said that God has chosen meditation as its channel to communicate with humans. On the surface, this statement may appear closer to disbelief that silence is the garden of contemplation. But nothing gets nearer to the truth. We should spend time just sitting and waiting with our eyes closed. Try to shut all the outside noise. Our ever-agitated mind focuses on the worldly five senses. Hence, it is difficult for the soul to get any attention from the mind. And that is why our divine sixth element is usually awakened a bit late in our lifetime. The more we will have patience, the more we will feel that God may offer us possible solutions by whispering words of wisdom for our problems. The word acknowledges yoga as a system of philosophy, combining breathing exercises and meditation. The United Nations has declared June 21 as an International Yoga Day. Rig Veda text were the basis for the ancient Hindu sages to put a system in place for meditation. For those sages, yoga positions and meditation were not two separate ways to seek the inner God, but one and the same. Yoga was never intended as a warm-up exercise to prepare the physical body for the next spiritual phase. It merely oriented the human beings to sit in an erect stance in the correct lotus posture for meditation. Starting from the base of the spine, there are 7 points to ascend to in yoga. As you progress in yoga, you will become genuinely spiritual and develop patience by listening to your own inner voice. There is no right or wrong way to meditate, meaning people can explore any and all different methods until they find the one that work in their comfort zones. The modern world is still in awe about the mysteries of meditation as explained by the ancient sages. Various meditation centers have mushroomed in every country of the world with their diluted yoga and meditation center versions. They pay more attention to tuning the outer physical positions rather than fostering harmony between the mind and the soul. They teach the basic ABCs of inner meditation to achieve an unagitated, stress-free state of mind. Fewer agitations make the mind more serene, with better chances to reach the desired blissful level. Noise distracts and it agitates the mind. Silence is an essential feature in meditation. There are stages in meditation. First, you hear a sacred sound that originates from inside you. Then you feel in contact with the divine between your eyebrows. And finally, you merge with your inner divinity. Hints for proper meditation. To practice the ABCs of meditation, it is mandatory to follow a simple yet necessary healthy lifestyle for the devotees to get the best possible result in their human lives, here on earth or beyond. Avoid alcohol, drugs, or mind-altering substances. Have a moderate vegan meal and warm water before sitting cross-legged. However painful, maintain your upright, erect stance. With closed eyes, focus on the tip of your nose as you inhale and exhale. Practice your daily meditation by having patience as you learn to go deep within and feel united with your soul or the divine sixth element. For centuries, many well-known organizations have researched how to meditate in the proper guided way as laid down in the Vedas by ancient sages. You may Google them. Enlightened soul, a bridge to the divine. A learned seer was once asked what were the greatest blessings of our Creator for us. He replied, "The Creator has created us by bestowing upon us this human birth. He has given us intelligence so we can govern planet Earth. He put his life force or the divine sixth element in us. As this element awakens, it creates the yearning for the divine and starts our journey from humanity to divinity. In an age of self-help books, self-improvement practices, and do-it-yourself ideas, is it not surprising that people should raise the question, why do we need a bridge to the divine or a preacher or guru to show us a way to salvation? Is not self-realization possible with just reading the scriptures and doing the rituals with our sincere individual effort? Can we not seek liberation for ourselves? The answer is yes, if we were to become like Buddha or like some humans who have gone down in history as prophets who found self-realization on their own. But we all need to meet saintly peoples who have traveled on this road to the divine ahead of us. They have reached the highest spiritual stage and became beacons to others after seeking enlightenment. A perfect master is necessary since he helps his disciples in a day-to-day life on earth and connects them to the divinity inside and beyond. In today's world, when we need to learn almost anything like driving, swimming, becoming a pilot, or even becoming a lawyer, doctor, musician, or any profession, we always seek college or university guidance. Then, after long years of learning and practice, we may get the degree for our career. If we take so much trouble over worldly education, is it not practical to seek an expert to guide us on this spiritual journey of life in seeking divinity? A stage comes in every spiritual seeker's life when he feels that all his scripture or personal knowledge cannot get him closer to divinity as he had expected. Just as we need a staircase to ascend or a bridge to cross over, similarly, a master is necessary for connecting the seeker to the divine. The seeker knows that in this spiritual journey called life, they will need someone more experienced. Hopefully, they will meet him in person, and then the enlightenment soul would guide and advise them towards inner divinity. As this may be the most important journey of the seeker's life, they must be ready to devote time, effort, and obedience to an enlightened soul or a guru. Guru comes from two Sanskrit root words, gu meaning darkness and ruhu meaning light. Thus Guru leads us from the darkness of ignorance towards the light of knowledge. They try to awaken our divine sixth element or the inner bliss that dwells inside us but is veiled by our ignorance and ego. Scholars think it means giving a form and a shape to the inner formless divinity, which helps destroy the wall of ego and teaches us to be humble and God-friendly. As per meditation masters, help us open our divine eye, which is between our eyebrows. This takes a lot of work and may even take more than one lifetime. The experienced teacher then tries to pass on this knowledge to his beloved disciples, who in turn do the same. They all teach humanity the meaning of life. Wisdom and action should always have no conflict with each other, but should always be in perfect harmony. Signs of an enlightened soul. A genuine enlightened soul is humble, selfless, childlike, innocent, and not a pretender. We can see their radiant face and the signs of an enlightened soul. They claim that they are not the master, but fellow seekers. They urge their disciples to surrender to the will of the divine. Most of the enlightened souls or gurus have serenity, detachment, equanimity, and above all, humility. They have love, wisdom, forgiveness, tranquility, kindness, and compassion towards all living beings. Their presence fills us with peace and joy. To quote a Western seeker, Rick Chapman, he says, with loyalty, he is regal. With the poor, he is simple. With scholars, he is learned. And with children, he is childlike and radiantly happy. From birth to death, human beings are sustained by a network of relationship. Parents and children, brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, cousins and friends, neighbors, partners, colleagues, associates, superior, authorities, subordinate, buyers and sellers. But the master-disciple relationship is the most unique relation ordained by His divine grace. It is born out of inner conviction and spiritual needs. It is a pure, selfless, spiritual relation that lifts human beings sometimes to divinity. It makes humans forget the beast in them and brings out the best in them. A random example is that of getting a degree as a doctor or a lawyer. We cannot know the law or cure others by just reading legal or medicinal books. The wisdom, knowledge, and inner divinity cannot be imbibed from scriptures or rituals alone. There is no school from where we can acquire this divine knowledge of the sixth element. As a tour guide, the teacher alone can show us how to travel on the road of life and find our purpose. Only an enlightened soul can guide us on this divine path of life. Signs of a false guru. A young disciple once asked, "How can I keep away from a false guru and who is a wolf in sheep's clothing?" To know this wolf or a false guru, he usually displays the following traits. He condemns and criticizes others, performs miracles and rituals to impress, displays magic to attract, and indulges in sensual pleasures. He is harsh and pretentious by nature. He speaks highly about himself. He is proud and arrogant and eager to obtain fame and money. He urges you to follow him rather than the divinity. Joke time! Politician. The son arrived home after graduating abroad. The father invited his best friend and showed them the four things: money, Bible, liquor, and gun he had placed in his son's room. Father, if he picks up money, he'll become a businessman. If he picks up the Bible, he'll be a preacher. If he picks up the liquor, he'll be a drunkard. And if he picks up the gun, he'll be a gangster. All of them waited behind the curtain and watched eagerly. As the son entered the room, he noticed the whiskey, money, gun, and the Bible lying on the table. So he opened a bottle of whiskey, took a long swig. He pocketed the money, put the gun in his pocket, and placed the Bible under his arm, and calmly walked out. The father said, "Oh my God, he has used all the items: whiskey, money, gun, and the Bible. I think he'll become a great politician."